Welcome to episode 8 of the Jeff and Jersey podcast.
We do reactions and post-game analysis of the NBA.
I'm Jersey.
I'm Jeff.
And today we're going to get started like we did on the last episode with a fun trivia question. Answer's going to be at the end. We're going to start getting used to this. It's kind of a fun segment. Good for our TikTok. Go check out the TikTok. It'll be in the description below. If you want to answer the trivia in the comments, go ahead. I will most likely reply to you or whatever, and if you get it right, before you go and watch the answer at the end, then I'll give you a thumbs up. Don't cheat. But yeah, so Steph Curry had a great game. We're probably going to talk about that. We have a fun segment coming up for our recap of the last 3 or 4 days, and so we chose Steph Curry as our trivia question today.
Because he's just kind of been dominant.
Unreal, yeah. We had a big video about him a couple days ago about being the hardest player to guard in the league, and so
we didn't pick him for MVP, and then he came out and beat our MVP.
Torched our MVP.
So
the trivia question goes like this: Stephen Curry in his career has 39 games of 9 or more 3-pointers made. So he made 9 3-pointers or more in a game. He has done that 39 times. How many other people in NBA history have at least 10 games of 9 or more 3-pointers made? So how many other people have made at least 9 or more threes in 10 games in their career? Okay, that's the question. Go to the end of the video. That's where the answer will be at the very end. Please watch the video first and like and subscribe.
Yep.
Okay, so today's first segment, it's a pretty fun one. It's just going to be a game changer, a little bit of a change up for how we present our weekend or our week recap. Sorry about that. But just games from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, and it's a wheel, so it's random. So there's no way we could have rehearsed this. It's just kind of going to flow randomly. We'll probably do like 6 or 7 of these, not all. I think I have 9 or 10 on there. 6 or 7 of them, quick, and then so it's not, we don't have bias. We put a lot of the games into this. We don't have bias towards, we only talk about the Warriors.
Right, it's random.
If the Warriors wheel doesn't hit, then we just won't talk about them today. So let's see what we got first. We're spinning it.
So, first one.
Oh, look at that.
They want us to talk about the Warriors. So, the Warriors blow out the Nets 117-99 in kind of dominant fashion.
Yeah.
I don't think it was even convincing.
It was a Warriors game from start to finish where the Warriors were always that team during their their championship run, which is obviously still going.
Continuing.
They're still going to be a championship contender, but I mean that 2014 to 2019, they were that team that if you were within 5 points at half, just say, okay, they're going to go on a 15-2 run in the third quarter.
They dominate.
When they're up 10 points, it feels like 20 because they just string good possessions together, good possession, play good defense, and then it's that 10-point lead turns into 18. And then the rim starts to become this big for Steph.
Yeah.
And then other guys.
That's usually when he has his biggest quarter.
Yeah.
I think I saw a stat, they're like a plus 125 or something in the third quarter. And the next closest team is the Hornets at like plus 50.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So they just dominate the third quarter.
And then even like one thing I've always noticed is it feels like 4 or 5 minutes into every third quarter, Steph runs off of a screen on the baseline.
Yeah.
Draymond hits the slip for a dunk, and it's timeout.
Yeah.
Immediately. 4 minutes into a third quarter, the opposing coach, like 90% of the time, is using a timeout because they just got lazy. They overplayed Steph, gave up a dunk, didn't play by their rules.
I would honestly, against the Warriors, probably use more of my timeouts in the third quarter than in the fourth because the way that they string momentum together in the third quarter is kind of like any team that I've seen where it's like every single third quarter, Steve Kerr just says some magical words and they just come out and kill it in the third quarter.
Yep, and it's not even about Steph being like a great front runner. I just think that when the juice is going and the mojo's going, shooting becomes easier.
Oh yeah.
Like dunking and post moves, that stuff, that's like a grind it out type of game. But the shooting aspect, you know how it feels. You make 4 or 5 in a row. You start to get a little
pointing at the crowd.
You start to get a little excited. The ball starts to go in. Everyone else wants to start shooting, and so the Warriors were ridiculous in that game. And then obviously our trivia question, which kind of like the randomizer wheel like really likes us because the episode's going to fall in order now, is from this game about Steph. He made his 39th game of 9 or more 3-pointers in this one, and had 37 points, 7 and 5, and then like I think they had 5 or 6 dudes in double figures. Poole had 17, just a straight all-around attack for the Warriors.
If the Warriors are playing like this, just as an all-together group, I know we've said this so many times, but they still have Clay coming back too. Yeah. It's been just kind of ridiculous to see. Yeah. And
I don't know why I didn't expect it, because Steph looked so good last year. Draymond feels retooled. Like he had an off season to kind of like get back to like, okay, this I can't be a complainer. I just got to come in and lead this team. He actually has people to lead now. Right. You know, they brought Iguodala back. They actually have guys on the same page.
They have like a perfect mix of young guys and vets that like it feels like they're obviously playing for a championship now, but like they have a future. Yeah, they do. So it's pretty impressive to watch, and they kind of dominated the Nets.
And it obviously helps when Kevin Durant has his worst game. Yeah, Kevin Durant's worst game of the season by far.
Yeah, 6 of 17 from the field. Just didn't get it going. But the Warriors team defense is so good, and Wiggins as a defender has been awesome.
Everyone's on a string at all times. You know, like they even have so many great plays where they overplay it, backdoor, help, and then the dude who overplayed it sprints straight to the corner, and then they'll even steal that pass. Like Toscano Anderson, I think, even had one of those, and it's like just stupid how, and that obviously starts with Draymond's vocals.
Right, exactly. I'm sure that they probably are like the most talkative team in the league.
And that's why he's my defensive player of the year right now, because they do things like KD having his worst shooting night. That's not something
that's easy.
But it's not random either. Yeah, exactly. It happened against the best defense in the league,
dominating every single game so far, and then it's no coincidence that they play like the second best defense in the league and don't do that well. And then Harden in this game, 24, 4 and 4, played all right. Okay, but I mean, he's still the last couple games he's been getting a lot of free throws.
If he has 24. 5 and 5 is kind of the template, and then KD has 28 to 30. They have a chance to win this game. Yeah, they really do.
Exactly.
Like, if KD's a little more efficient, that means other guys are getting more shots.
Nets didn't have Joe Harris either, so defense can kind of like collapse in when you have like DeAndre Bembry on the floor for the Nets.
And then even Javon Carter. Yeah. Guys like that. Even Bruce Brown's not a great shooter. He's more of like, if he's your 4th best shooter out there, it's a good, like you're a great team. Yeah. But like he's not much of like a. He's not going to attract dudes off of James Harden. Right. Let's go to the wheel. Is that all you had to say about that one? Yep. Let's see what the wheel has for us next.
So the Jazz blow out the 76ers 120 to 85. Bogdanovich in this game had 27 points. Utah bench had 49 points. And when they're playing like that, I mean, it's tough to beat them. But the Sixers were missing Embiid. It's going to be tough for Philly to win games without Embiid. Yeah. And especially when the Jazz play like the way that they did, you're just not going to beat them.
Even Tobias Harris, 12 points in that game. Like, for the Sixers to really be the finals contender, like I think that they can be, they can win the East, I think, with this roster, is Embiid's got to play as good as he can. Yep. He can play 90 to 95% of what his full capability is. Harris has got to get 20 to 25 a night. Yeah. Maxi's got to take that next step. He had 16 in this game, so he had a solid game. But Tobias Harris is just too inconsistent for this team right now. They need him to be a legit second option.
You're not getting paid $185 million to come out and put 12 points up when you're the first option. Yeah. Without Embiid. So he's got to be better for sure. But I don't really judge the Sixers for like this past like 2.5
they've had a
stretch.
Weird
They've
stretch.
Had like half of their team out with COVID and everything. So I'm not concerned.
And then Simmons is out still to this day, and then like obviously I don't judge. You know, you lose to a good team in the Jazz when you're missing your best player, and then the Jazz have 50 bench points. Like
it's tough to beat a team when they have 50 bench points.
50 bench points is like you got to hope your 2 best starters get 50 points. Yeah. And then if your bench gets 50 points, it's booked. So this game was a blowout from kind of the start, and obviously the Jazz run away with it in the second half. Right. But Jazz are an all-around team. We know that. They have lots of depth, but I mean, simple as it is, the Sixers were just missing their top dude.
Right.
Okay, next, what do we got?
So,
it's close.
The Mavs beat the Nuggets 111-101. So, in this game, Porzingis had 29 and 11. He's been on like kind of the streak what he needs to be.
Yeah, he's doing what he needs to be, and I fear that this is just him having a heater. I hope that, like, I'm a Knicks fan, and I hope Porzingis returns back to that 20 and 11 guy that he was with the elite floor spacing and all that, because it's so much fun to watch a big dude like that with all the skill. He is a still athletic dude for how tall and lengthy he is, but seeing him have 29 and 11, have big games is cool.
I think like his last 4 or 5, he's averaged like 25 and 9 or something like that. Last night, I think it was last night, he struggled a little bit, but without Luka, I mean, it's tough because the defense would like focus on him and stuff like that. But played great in this game. Hardaway Jr. 19-7-4, Luka 23 and 11. They didn't really have to come in late in the game. The bench kind of ran away with it while Jokic was out. It's tough for the Nuggets to be good without Jokic, and especially when they don't have Porter Jr.
And when you start a guy like Morris in this game who had 17 and 8, that their bench had 16 points in this one. Like it's tough to win games when your bench, if he comes off the bench and you have other guys like Porter Jr. and people like that, then they lost by 10 points. That is that 10 points that they're missing. Jokic obviously had a great game. 35, 16, and 6 in this one.
Still dominating.
The Nuggets do worry me a little bit with their depth. Like, I've always been worried about the Nuggets' depth, and then they prove me wrong.
Right,
so I'm not going to be like, they always have guys step up and win games. This is obviously, the Mavs are a good team.
I think they just have to hope that Porter Jr. comes back relatively soon, and Jamal Murray comes back as healthy as he can. With the Nuggets, my concern is that they try to rush those two back if they start to drop a couple games here and there. If guys don't step up and they start dropping a couple games, they're like, okay, we're gonna hurry up, and then Porter Jr. and Murray aren't the players that we know them to be. But I don't know if they will do that, just because like the organization.
And they've been like, obviously with Bol really patient with injuries. Michael Porter Jr. didn't force him to play really till the bubble a lot, and so like I don't know. I think that they will play it patient. They know they have a big who's going to be good in this league for another decade. He doesn't play above the rim. He doesn't get injured that much. Only real injury concern this year was the bump to the knee. With Gobert, where he missed just half of a game, or whatever it was against the Jazz, right?
Each other,
because he had a really good first half. So I don't think they're worried about their star getting injured. I just think that they need their pieces back to really be able to make a run.
Yep.
Next, let's see what the wheel has for us. It's been really nice so far, giving us teams we love.
So Bulls beat the Lakers.
This was Monday, right?
I think so.
Or was this? Yeah, I think that this was on Monday.
121-103. DeRozan, just loves playing in LA. Had 35 against the Clippers the night before, I think. 38 points in this game. Kind of just looked unstoppable for a minute there.
And we'll get to DeRozan later in our last segment, and I really want to talk to you about this because DeRozan, for me, is making an All-NBA team. If the season ended today and I had a vote, he's probably on my All-NBA second team. I think he's been, obviously, All-NBA teams aren't always you're the top 10 players in the NBA, but
he's been their best player.
Production-wise, on one of the best teams in the East who's making a huge turnaround, total franchise turnaround. Obviously, Lonzo, 27 points, 8 assists, 7 of 10.
It feels like he took this game personally.
Things like the Bulls have really matured, and I listened to Caruso today on JJ Redick's podcast, and they just seem like a mature team now. They seem like they show up for work. They're very low-key guys. That's why their chemistry meshed so fast.
They don't have any outstanding personalities and stuff like that. And then when you got Lonzo shooting 7 of 10 from 3, you had 27 and 8, and Levine had 26 as well. That's when those three are playing that way. They're going to be a tough team to beat. It definitely felt like Lonzo took this game personally.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you he had this marked on the calendar. Just came out and was hot from the jump, just making all these crazy plays. And then Levine with a low-key 26. But
that's the player he is now.
He's becoming that superstar where he has like an off game and it's 26 points. Yeah. And they kind of just dominated the Lakers.
And I think that his potential was higher than I initially like really sat down and thought about. I think
me too.
I thought, last year or maybe even the year before was like his potential.
But it's like,
and I had friends. So we have a lot of like Seattle basketball connections. Obviously, Zach LaVine grew up in the bigger Seattle area.
Yeah.
And so they've been telling me for year and a half now, watch out because this dude is a freak. He's only going to get better, and they were right. And I'll obviously, I will admit when I'm wrong that he's way better than I thought that he would ever be. Obviously, last year I was seeing it already. Yeah. But another guy that I think is turning into that is THT. Yeah. I think he's a lot better than I expected. 28 points in this one.
I agree with that. He's been great since he came back. He's been kind of like, honestly, their only bright spot.
Since he came back.
He came 3 back. Games. Yeah. He's been just kind of that go-to guy in the half court, I guess. Like you said, he had 28 points. Westbrook in this one, 25, 8, and 6. But in the second half, this game wasn't really close.
No. Yeah.
Was this the game that AD got ejected?
I think it was. Yes, he only had 20 points. That kind of makes sense. And then obviously only 18 bench points for the Lakers. They're not going to score 25 to 30 bench points a night unless Carmelo has a big game.
Right.
They're going to be a team in that 20 to 25 bench points a night.
Especially once LeBron comes back.
Yeah, when LeBron comes back.
Once they're fully healthy, I feel like things are but that's the question is, are they going to be fully healthy? Because they have their whole benches in street clothes. Like
I am loving the idea of THT, Westbrook, AD, LeBron, and Ariza on the floor at once. I think that there's
Ariza coming back will help out.
There's a lot of shot creation there. Obviously, LeBron. There's a lot of paint presence, a lot of defensive versatility. I like their lineup, and I like what they're doing. And obviously, like the first sub for me in that lineup is probably Carmelo for Westbrook, and then THT runs your point and stuff like that.
Because he's shown that he has like these playmaking capabilities that I didn't think he had.
Yeah,
he looks like a much better
player.
Last
year at the end of the year, the Knicks played the Lakers with like 3 games left. I want to say, and he hit like the dagger step back 3.
I remember that.
And I was just like, his game looks so polished compared to what I saw him in the small glimpses his rookie year.
Right.
And so, like, the sky's the limit for him. I'll never put a ceiling over a player like that's head.
Right.
And I've kind of learned, obviously, from the past, like we said. But, like, he's just looked great in his return. So, next. Let's see what we got next from the wheel.
We got the Hornets beating the Wizards
97
to 87.
My personal favorite League Pass team so far. Probably my 2 favorite League Pass teams so far played in this one. Hornets, so exciting. Wizards are one of the biggest surprises. I don't think they're a surprise as in, like, I knew that they would, like, be good, but I didn't know they'd be this good.
I didn't know that they'd be, like, the 1 seed in the East.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone did.
And, like, still winning games. Obviously, the Hornets beat them here in, like, a lower scoring kind of, like, battle it out.
Yeah.
And, like, my only real notes in this one, like, no one really, like, went off.
Yeah.
It was just the Hornets had 6 guys in double figures.
Just kind of like a consistent attack on the offensive end.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, like, the Wizards, just how, looking back on that Westbrook trade and everything, and people were like, oh, they lost Westbrook. Like, they're going to be so much worse, but they're so much better. They just play, like, more as a team, and then obviously when you got guys like Harrell that can come in and bring you like that fire and stuff like that, and he's actually getting him, Kuzma and KCP are, I think, maybe not KCP, but Kuzma and Harrell are in more roles that they feel comfortable with.
Yep, and I feel like they're a team where you can kind of sub anyone for anyone because they're such a versatile team.
Because they have Gafford at the 5, and then Harrell comes in. So you have like 2, 6, 9.
Kuzma can play 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Dinwiddie can play 1 or 2. Beal 1, 2, 3. Like they have a lot of like versatility. So like their lineups, they're like a really like big go with the flow type of team.
And then eventually
instead of like the Knicks, you have to sub in Taj Gibson for Mitchell Robinson. You have to sub in Alec Burks for RJ, like that type of thing. I feel like the Wizards, it's really good that they're a very versatile team.
Yeah, and eventually they'll have Hachimura coming back too.
Yeah.
Which we hope is soon. And then they'll still have Thomas Bryant coming back too. So they'll have like an actual big that they can play at certain times. But Yeah, they only had 4 people score over 5 points.
I wanted to bring something up that I saw today on TikTok. It was a podcast that I kind of search through sometimes and watch some of their videos. And they were arguing about if Gordon Hayward was better than Spencer Dinwiddie.
I don't think so.
The way he's playing right now, I wouldn't say Gordon Hayward is better than Spencer Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie has been great to start the year.
Yeah, it's tough for me. I personally think that they're same
if
category.
You're making a tier list, they're going to be on the same, but I'm going to have Dinwiddie a couple spots
I am
ahead.
too, especially since the Hornets don't use Hayward as much as the Wizards use Dinwiddie. Hayward
every other game is different.
It confuses me the way they use Hayward. We've talked about this before. Their late game half court offense is terrible. They just go ISO matchup wise, but when you have late game half court offense, you have to run it through somebody.
Yeah, run some sort of set that
Get Hayward in a pick and roll or something because he's good enough player to play make for these other guys. Get LaMelo coming off a dribble handoff or something like that, or get a second action for Bridges in a post up or something like that. And then
even the ISOs can come at 10, 11 seconds. They literally dribble the ball up, dribble it at the top of the key, ball screen, get a switch, ISO. It's what?
It's terrible to watch.
No, but then even us as shooters, guys who tend to, rely more on our shooting, we know what it does to a person when they don't have the ball in their hands for 2 minutes. Yeah. So say you run the half-court ISO offense at the end of games. You're trying to take time off the clock, this, that, the other thing. You're ISOing. You drive. They help. Boom, I kick it to someone like KCP who hasn't touched the ball in, 45 seconds, minute and a half. You don't have the feeling. That's when Melo subs in. He does the ball,
right?
And it's you got to get a feeling on the ball. And that's what, if you run offense for 12 seconds up top, handoff, pass to the point center, boom, dribbles over, then you get the mismatch, then you go.
Yeah, they just look like a much better team when Hayward is more involved because he can slow things down for you. I do think they're in the same tier, him and Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie obviously gets more usage rate, obviously, and has been doing great with it. It's just that Hayward is just not getting the opportunity that I think he needs.
Yeah.
He's a much better than people take him for.
What sucks is I think he's in the perfect situation, just they're not using him right. You know what I'm saying? There's no roster in the league. I don't think there's a roster in the league he fits better than the Hornets. He's the perfect dude to slow them down in the half court.
It's just crazy because it's obviously LaMelo and Bridges haven't developed that go-to at the end of the game because LaMelo, obviously streaky, takes some pretty dumb shots, just launching threes. Bridges with some errant drives, or they even go to Oubre and stuff. I don't want a Kelly Oubre ISO with 4 minutes in the game when it's close. Yeah. I would rather have stuff go through Hayward, who we know can play in a half court offense. That's his game.
Yeah. So the roster construction is perfect for Hayward. But the coaching, the sets, it's just so usage
weird.
Isn't.
When they run it through him, they just look like a much better team. And from what I've seen,
and controlled. They're a team that gets way out of control.
Way too sped up.
So he's the perfect guy to run some flex action for, run a down screen for, run something to get him the ball.
He's 6'8" and big. He can get to his spots, get to that little 15-foot jumper.
The fadeaway.
And it's definitely interesting the way that they use him. I'll say that.
Okay, what do we got next? We got a couple more, probably 2 or 3 more.
Blazers come back and beat the Bulls.
I'm glad this one came up because this was one of the most interesting games. They're down 20 plus.
Yeah.
Right? And the Blazers are still kind of they're winning games despite Dame not shooting well. And one thing, I don't know if it was this game that we watched, but it was a different Blazers game from
we watched them play the Raptors.
Yeah, we watched a lot of that game, probably 20 straight minutes of sitting there watching. And I've just noticed, maybe I'm just a casual for the Blazers, but they just move the ball so well. Dame is so unselfish. He had 10 assists in this one.
Yeah, it feels like he's just getting 8 to 12 assists
anytime
every game.
2 guys come to him, he's just passing it. CJ's getting wide open looks.
Yeah.
Simon's got a wide open 3 I saw. And then even he drove it, dumped it off to Nance for a dunk. he's not forcing anything, and so maybe the shooting numbers are a little weird because he's not forcing shots. Maybe it's a little new, like a newer system. The Billups system might be a little bit different.
And obviously other people are in shooting slumps as well. So like I think if the way that I've seen them play, I haven't watched a Blazers game and been like, ew. Like, what am I watching? I've been impressed when I watch them. Yeah. So maybe it's just once Dame breaks out of this shooting slump that they'll be there, because I'm impressed with like the pickup of Larry Nance has been great. Yeah. Nasir Little's been doing great off the bench.
He's the perfect like 3-4 guy that you bring off the bench that can give you boards,
Simons
hustle,
has been
defense.
Great as a sixth man. I've been impressed when I've watched them.
Yep.
And I think it might just take a Dame like
once he starts shooting normal, this team's actually going to be really, really solid.
They've impressed me.
The depth is actually there. That's been the problem with Portland over the past years, is the depth isn't there.
Yeah.
They got Nance off the bench now and things like that. Yeah. And then obviously when Powell, Nurkic, and Nance get you 16 plus in a game, with Dame getting 22 and 10, like you really have an all-around attack. And that's kind of been Portland's thing for a while, is like CJ 20, Dame 30, Nurk 18. Like they've been like an all-around attack type of offense. But now that they actually have depth, they can really support that type of offense.
Oh, totally.
And then their defense is always going to have question marks, but I mean, they're not giving up 120. They're not giving up, 107 to the Bulls, where they only gave up 44 in the second half. That's really good.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked to see the Bulls kind of blow this, because I checked, I was like, oh, Blazers down 20, game's over. Yeah. Whatever. Levine had 30 in this game. Caruso 12, 10, and 9, almost a triple-double. I don't think DeRozan shot well. I think he was
DeRozan had his probably worst game of the year.
4 of like 18 or 19 or something like that. And then when he doesn't have it going, and then you don't have Vucevic either to like back up, it's kind of tough to get like that, and when Lonzo doesn't play great either. They were outscored 64-44 in the second half. That's not good.
Not a winning formula.
Definitely not.
Just not. I think that one thing that I wanted to bring up about this, I already kind of brought it up with their depth, but like normally with a Blazers game in the last 4 or 5 years, they're down 15 at the half and come back and win. You click onto the box score, you click onto the end of the game, and it's like Lillard's going for 48. Yeah. It's like this shot, that's 50 or whatever it is. 22 and 10, and they come back and win. Like it really does show that this team has matured. They have added pieces. Obviously, they added Powell last year, and then they added Nance, and then Nasir Little. They've drafted pretty well with Nasir Little and Simons a couple years ago, and so I do think that this team is better. They didn't add any marquee free agents or anything, but this team is better than we've seen.
I think they just need Dame to end up shooting like we know Dame can. Yep. And it could be a system thing, or it could just be a normal shooting slump like there is for a lot of players around the league. Yep. So, we'll see. But I'm intrigued by this Blazers team. I'll say that.
Me too. Okay, so we got 2 more. There's 4. I plan to leave 2 on here just so that we don't talk for an hour. We've already done a good amount, but 2 more. Okay, let's see what we got.
So, Suns keep up their win streak and beat the T-Wolves 99-96. Ayton, is this the first game Ayton came back, or was there one before?
I think this was his return.
Okay, so in this game, he had 22 and 12. Looked like he didn't skip a beat. Yep. Which is key for them to win games, obviously. Yep. Booker 29, 5 and 5. It seems like he's starting to finally
get the shooting. He had that. This is the game he had the crazy finish. Yeah. He if you're listening or whatever, he got into the paint and was like way too far out. Yeah. And went up and kind of went like under. It was Karl Anthony Towns, right? So yeah. And had like a scoop layup off the backboard that was just like crazy, crazy, like acrobatic finish. Towards the end of this one, and it was really exciting.
Yeah, Chris Paul in this game too, 21 and 8. He's been great for them. I think they're on a 10-game win streak now.
It's 9 or 10
going into tomorrow.
After like a shaky start, I think they started 1-3.
Yeah,
won 10
and then they won 10 in a row. Cat in this game had a great game, 35 and 13. Anthony Edwards struggled 9 points, and then D'Lo 22. But apparently, I saw in this game, we didn't watch much of this game. Yeah. But from what we saw, it was Cat was just having a game, and the game was flowing through him, and then D'Lo kind of like jacked the ball from him. In the fourth quarter, and just was taking terrible shots and everything. And it's like when a guy has it going, you just have to run through him. I don't care who you are, what
Especially when it's like the franchise player.
Yeah, it's like D'Lo's D'Lo. I mean, if he's got it going, then run through him. But Cat had 35 and 13. Yeah. Like that, the ball's got to run through him.
That's even like what we saw with the Celtics. We're obviously talking about the Suns beating the T-Wolves, but the Celtics, we were watching the other night, you wanted the ball to go to Tatum so bad because he had one of his best games of the season going.
Yeah.
It just felt like 4 or 5 possessions in a row to end the game. He just didn't see the ball.
He had like 34 and 8 or something like that, but in the fourth quarter, that was the game. Sorry, we went off track, but
it's all good.
He had like 34 and 9, but in the game, it just felt like he played hard from start to finish and was like out there trying with down 11 with like 4 minutes left. The ball just didn't find him, and when you have a franchise player that's going off, the ball has got to go through him, especially with Cat because he's so gifted offensively. Like guys can get it going. And especially with Edwards struggling with 9 points, like you got to go through him. And it was interesting to see because someone that I follow on Instagram called D'Lo Double Agent D'Angelo. Because it seemed like he just sold the game and just was jacking up shots that didn't need to be.
And they're skidding, man.
Yes.
They're like...
They fooled me.
They fooled me too. I thought that this team looked legit.
I thought they were actually legit.
3 legit scoring options with defensive versatility, 3-and-D wings. I thought that Minnesota really did have a chance to make the 8 seed or something this year.
But they've sucked.
Man, if they are this bad and they keep doing this thing,
they might got it.
Karl Anthony Towns might be out of there.
Yep.
For real. He might at the trade deadline just ask
I'm
out.
done.
Yeah. Okay, we got 3 things left. We're just gonna do one more. Hopefully, it's the Kings beating the Pistons. I love talking about the Kings, but we'll see. And it's as far away as possible.
Oh.
Clippers beating the Spurs 106-92. Okay, there we are. DeJounte Murray we've obviously talked about him last episode.
Yep.
We've been talking about him in private a lot. And go back to the Seattle basketball stuff, he's been amazing to start the year.
Yeah.
He had 26, 12, and 9 in this one.
It seems like every time I check the box score after a game, he's got a near triple-double.
Yeah.
It's been pretty impressive to see. And then Derek White, 19, 3 and 3. He hasn't been great this year, I don't think. But was pretty good in this game, but only 22 bench points. That's
for a team like the Spurs that rely on their ball movement and depth.
Like 30.
Yep. And obviously, if you get 30 in this one, it's a little bit closer. They just need more help, more dudes. Keldon Johnson, who I've been praising for months now, had a bad game.
Yeah, did Pirtle play in this game, or has he been out?
I think he's been out.
Yeah, that's another piece that very underrated player.
Yeah,
great defensively. That obviously they miss. But like you said, they just need more help.
Yep. I think that we need to seriously make a move to get a Seattle basketball guy on here because there's so many good Seattle basketball players in the NBA right now, and then obviously Paulo is at Duke.
Yeah.
Tons of them. We talk about them all the time, the Seattle guys, so keep an eye out. We might try and do something fun there. But Paul George in this one, 34 and 9, 32 bench points. Like when the Clippers operate through Paul George and their depth shows, they're a tough team to beat.
PG's continuing his run to start the year. He's top 5 in our MVP race.
Yep, he's probably on that 7, 8, 9 right now for my best players in the league. I think. Yeah,
this season he's been great. I think he's honestly probably third or fourth in MVP. DeRozan
and him are my two. I think that are flipping.
Those
right
two
now.
are obviously
Jokic.
After Steph
You got to throw Jokic and Giannis
he's
somewhere
my
in
fifth,
there too.
And then Giannis at 6 because they've been injured.
And their record's not great.
So, but yeah, when he's playing like this and he's continued it, and I love watching PG play well because it's so fun to watch because it just seems so smooth and effortless. He's just snaking around and getting buckets from anywhere.
I don't know if this is popular. Just tell me, for someone over 6'8", he might have the best handle of all time. Someone over 6'8", the cleanest. Obviously Kevin Durant can dribble well, but Paul George has that shake, that crossover.
He's got a great in and out dribble.
I feel like he has the best handles of someone over 6'8".
I might have to agree with that.
Like, I can't think of anyone. Like, LeBron's handle isn't that tight. It's tight for a dude his size, but it's not. PG dribbles like he's 6'3".
Yeah.
And he's 6'8", 6'9".
It's so impressive to watch. Yeah. And I think we talked about this in an earlier episode. When the ball runs through him, like, we think he might just be a better player as a first option.
Yep. Surround him with 4 shooters or 3 shooters and a big, and then good depth, and your team is going to win a lot of games.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where they end up in the West, and probably since Kawhi's out for the year.
Yeah. There's kind of like, I've heard a lot of like stuff on social media if he comes back. I don't think he comes back.
I don't think he does either.
But it is nice seeing him with the team down there. Like the playoffs, he was
up in the box, like with his family and stuff.
It's
it was weird, but like seeing him down on the court and everything, it's cool to see him. But like, it's just PG's game is so much more fluid without Kawhi on the court.
Yep, I agree with that for sure. Yep, it's a lot more. He feels. I think he shoots too many threes when Kawhi's out there because like. Every NBA player is going to say, I don't need stats, I want to win or whatever. But, like, when you look up and it's the middle of the fourth or the beginning of the fourth and you have 12 points or whatever because like, you only have 7 or 8 shots, you're like, okay, I got to hit 3 or 4 threes here to get my average.
Yep.
Like, all basketball players are thinking, like, oh, I hit 3 threes, okay, I have 9. Like, in high school, when you don't have to look up at the board and see, you know, number 15 has this many points or whatever, you're thinking in your head, okay, I got to be more aggressive. I've only taken 3 threes or whatever. But Paul George now is getting to the baseline. He's getting downhill.
He's getting to his spots and making things just look so easy.
The mid-range looks way better this year than last year because he's taking more of them. And so I think he's as good as we've probably ever seen him. Mm-hmm. Maybe that OKC run, but I think this roster fits him a little bit better.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And so I think that this Paul George really does have a chance to compete for the MVP. All NBA teams, obviously he's going to make an all-star team because it's Paul George and he's that caliber of a player. But I'm really excited to see where the Clippers go this year.
I am too.
Yeah, and that's the end of our recap. I wanted to leave a couple just so we didn't get to all of them, but I feel like that was a pretty good recap. Today's Unsung Heroes on today's segment are different. None of them have been mentioned before on the episode in the Unsung Hero category.
Right.
That was today's goal. We didn't go with any like of the big performances. We kind of went with just guys that we love and that we've watched over the years, and maybe there's a couple young guys in here.
Yeah.
And first is Immanuel Quickley. I wanted to give a big shout out. He's been playing great for the Knicks lately. I think this kid has the potential to be a starter in this league for years to come. He has a lot of skill.
Yeah, he's very fun to watch. Like whenever I watch Knicks games, it's just an instant spark plug.
Yep.
And it's just super fun to watch him play. Like. And especially in the Garden, like with that energy around him, and he just feeds off that.
We love the kids.
Yeah.
You know, I love Obi, I love RJ, I love Mitchell, I love Immanuel Quickley.
Yeah.
And so whenever they do good, it feels like my child is doing good. You know what I'm saying? Like that feeling as a sports fan when you've invested so many hours into a player.
Yeah.
It just feels great. Next, we got Kyle Anderson, slow-mo. He had 15 and 5 in a win versus Houston for Memphis.
So if you don't know, he's called slow-mo because everything he does is so slow.
And it's like almost on purpose. Like he knows. He's like a 6'10", small forward, power forward, who like his Euro step is like, boom.
Yeah, his jumper's so slow, it's like...
Lay it up.
Like he could get off so many more shots if he shot faster, but it's like... Because they like have to, they have so much time to close out. They think that he's gonna shoot, and then it's just pump, bake, pull up.
Yeah.
So he does everything so slow. It's almost funny to watch.
Yeah, and like his fast break is a slow break.
Yeah.
And like he's been great. I mean, he's been like a very vital part to the depth of the Grizzlies, and so I wanted to shout him out. One of his better games so far this year.
Against the worst team in the league, Houston.
We got another young guy for the Clippers. Brandon Boston is our third one. He had 13 and 4 in a win over the Spurs, and I even saw him hit a pull-up fadeaway. Like, looks like his offensive game is getting like a little better.
He's obviously got some skill, and then like to come out in like obviously in a blowout win, like to come out when you don't have much minutes and prove like that you can play. That's obviously good for not only your confidence but like the team's confidence in you. So like maybe you got 2 or 3 guys hurt and then you come in and play some minutes and they have confidence in you. That's good for a young rookie like him going forward.
I also threw him in. Did you see the quote that he said? So it was not a direct quote. This is like me paraphrasing. He gets asked about like some of his offensive moves and reacting to like NBA defenders. And he's like, honestly, half the time I don't even know what I'm doing or whatever. So how are they? It was like the old Peyton Manning quote. Have you heard that one where he goes, on offense, the defense is trying to figure out what we're doing. But if we don't know what we're doing, how are they going to figure? Yeah, how are they supposed to know? And so he had a quote really similar to that I thought was funny. And obviously after a good game for his young career, thought I had to bring him up. Number 4, we got Corey Joseph, just a vet, a bench veteran in this league.
The weirdest signings of the offseason.
For the Pistons, the Pistons beat the Pacers. So he had 18 points in that win. I saw him hit a pull-up jumper, a couple nice moves, and so we had to shout him out. Not many chances for him to make it on the list this year, especially this past week. Has been there's been fewer big bench games for guys, other than obviously Jordan Clarkson had a big game in that blowout and things like that. But
he's not really an unsung hero. He's he averages 18.
And he won 6th Man of the Year. So we want to shout out other guys, but Corey Joseph, best signing of the offseason for the Pistons. Shout out to you, Corey Joseph, if you're watching right now. Number 5 is Cam Reddish. Obviously, everyone knows Cam Reddish. He's not a huge. That's why I put him last. He's not a huge unsung hero because a lot of people do think he has a lot of game and potential. But 19 points and a win over the Celtics. Yeah,
it hurt to watch him
and
play
I put that in here on
against
purpose
the Celtics because going into that game, he had 4 straight games where he didn't even it was 4, 5, 8, 9. So his points combined didn't even meet the points that he had in this game.
Yeah, of course, it's just of course, right?
Yeah, against my team. But he was definitely very impressive. The one thing that I noticed though was that when he settled for jumpers, he didn't look that great. But when he has the tools to get to the rim and get into the mid range, that he's a much better player when he does that. And if he can do that more consistently, then he can start averaging 12 to 15 regularly and not have 4, 5, 8, and 9.
And then the minutes start to become a really regular thing. He starts getting 20 minutes a night.
He's definitely very inconsistent, but that also comes with if he stays healthy, this will be his first legit.
First real full season where he can just totally dive in and really get used to the NBA game and play every single night.
Yeah.
So those are your unsung heroes for this episode. A lot of star power in here, obviously. A lot of absolute studs.
Yep.
Young guys with, really big ceilings.
Yeah.
Guys like that. And then obviously Corey Joseph, the best of the bunch in there. Next, we're going to go to the weekend pick'em. We're bringing the pick'em back. We're going to do it every couple episodes. I'm not much of a sit down and do a pick'em for the whole league for the whole week because that'll get boring.
We do 5 or 6 games over the weekend.
Whenever we notice over a 3-day period that there's 4 or 5 really good games, then we'll sit down and debate them and pick them. And so we start with Lakers and your Celtics. In Boston.
In Boston tomorrow night. So LeBron's questionable to play. Jaylen Brown questionable to play. Rob Williams questionable to play. I think LeBron will play. He was raised from out to questionable. Same with Jaylen and Rob. This is always just a game that everyone looks forward to.
And
it's Celtics classic.
It's on ESPN every single time, or TNT or wherever. Is this on?
It's on ESPN.
ESPN
so
every single time.
Mike Breen announcing and everything, and it'll definitely be a fun game to watch. I pick the Celtics because I can't pick against my own team.
Yeah, I picked the Lakers because I think LeBron's return. Obviously, if I was smart and looked back at the past, LeBron doesn't return and go super hard all the time and things. So I probably should have chose the Celtics, but I picked the Lakers just so I have something to root for.
Yeah, and then next game is Bulls Nuggets. It'll be interesting to see how the Bulls handle Jokic because I don't think that they will.
Yeah, but another thing, Anthony Davis had 20 points and got ejected or whatever of that game against the Bulls. But I don't know. They're a tricky team because Tony Bradley is not a bad player. They got guys.
But AD doesn't force his will
as much as Jokic
in the post as much as Jokic.
And Jokic has good games against everyone.
Yeah, so. He had 25 points in the first half against the Defensive Player of the Year.
And then against the Suns, I think against Ayton, he had 35.
Yeah.
Is that the one that I was looking at?
I think so. So I picked Jokic to dominate, and
no, it was against Porzingis. He had 35.
Yeah, I picked the Nuggets to win. I think Jokic is going to have a very big game, but I do think that it'll be a fun game to watch.
Oh, for sure. This is two of my favorite teams to watch so far in the league. The Nuggets are one of my favorite teams because of the ball movement, the player movement, the handoffs, the backdoor cuts. Jokic is one of my favorite players in the league because it's just so much skill inside of such a non-skillful looking body. Like
a non-athletic.
He looks like a bully ball type of player, and then he comes out shooting 25, like 28 footers, and the baseball passing and all that stuff. And so I picked the Nuggets in this one.
Yeah,
you picked the Nuggets as well.
Yeah. Moving on to Heat Wizards, it'll be interesting to see if the Wizards can kind of keep their momentum going against a good Miami team.
Too. They're at home here.
With Jimmy, most likely, he just came back from a sprained ankle, so hopefully that they can kind of get rolling again. But I have the Wizards in this one.
Me too.
I like the way that they're playing right now, and I know Brad Beal hasn't played for a couple games. I'm not sure.
He played recently, though. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I'm not sure if it was like a one-time thing. It was like sore ankle or something like that. But I think this game will be certainly fun to watch. The Heat, obviously, are one of the better teams in the league, and then the Wizards have like the best record in the East.
Yeah, and we just bragged about the Wizards for a while with their depth and all the cool lineups that they do. And I picked them just mainly because of the home court advantage. They've seemed to be, the other night when we were watching, they had lots of fans there.
Yeah.
They're, filling the stadium back out. Fun. There's a little bit of buzz going on in D.C., and so that's why I picked them.
Yeah.
Next, we got Mavs Clippers. This is like a Luka revenge game from those playoffs.
From the playoffs and just the beef that they have and everything. Obviously, Pat Bev's not there, so that takes away a step. But I have the Mavs in this one. I like Luka's just performed against the Clippers. They're going to throw everything at him for sure because they have the ability to with the defense that they have is very versatile. But it'll be interesting to see how Porzingis feeds off that because
especially
I'm sure
the small ball too. Like the Clippers are probably going to go small with a guy like that. How they normally
it'll be interesting to see can Porzingis play against that on both ends of the floor?
Because Porzingis really is the archetype for a big that beats the small ball.
Yeah,
because he can post up, but then he also gives you floor space, things like that.
And he's mobile enough on defense.
Yeah.
And if he's helping, like, obviously he's not going to be in the paint, but he is good enough to guard some dudes on the wing. Yeah. And he's long enough to recover if he gets beat.
Yeah. So I picked the Clippers in this one. I'm a huge PG fan, and you know that, and they're rolling right now, and so I picked the Clippers.
They've won
like
9 out of their last 11 or something like that.
Our last game that we're picking is the Hornets versus the Hawks, and we both went Hawks here.
Yeah, the Hawks they haven't started great, obviously, but they've had one of the tougher schedules in the league. Been on the road a bunch, and they looked good against my Celtics, but it feels like now is the time when they're going to start kicking things into gear. Obviously, they don't have DeAndre Hunter for the next 2 months, but this is going to be a fun game to watch. Yeah. I have a feeling it's going to be a high-scoring, fun League Pass game. And like you said, we both went with the Hawks here, but I like the Hawks, like their roster build out. It's just they haven't performed to expectations, obviously.
Isn't it funny how this random thought, like this is how my brain works like throughout the day, random NBA thoughts, how probably when we were growing up, let's say 5 or 6 years ago, like when we really were sitting down watching a lot of NBA, it felt like the high flying, the fast pace, all that was the West.
Yeah.
And then the East had Toronto, Philly, obviously the Bucks coming up, the Cavs, teams like you play a little bit slower.
The
Pacers were a little bit of a slower team. And now the East, like the young teams, like obviously the Wizards play pretty fast now. Yeah. Hornets fast. Hawks play fast. Yeah. Like feels like the East has a lot more teams now, and it's like evened the league out to where like, my favorite team is the Hornets in the East, like to watch on League Pass because you're always going to have excitement.
You're going to have some play in the game. It is funny how
the league over the years like kind of changes, and so I just wanted to say that.
I think that's for me, it's like the West kind of like transitioning to like it feels like the West is older.
Yeah.
And then obviously guys in the West went to the East, and there's some older East teams, but I do agree with that.
But now the Nets are a fast-paced offensive team, and they're my favorite to win the East still. Or them or the Bucks probably right now. I don't really have it set, but like a lot of those East teams are a faster-paced offense,
right?
And they're going to score a lot of points. Mm-hmm. One of our last segments of today's show, other than the trivia, is some new 2K ratings came out. Mm-hmm. Just 2K every week, I want to say, updates ratings based on performance. And so if you're a hooper of any sort and have any kind of video game console, you know about 2K. It's the biggest basketball game of our generation by far.
Yep. It's
the game people play for NBA. There's WNBA on there. There's street hoops on there. There's
everything.
Create a player, franchise mode,
old
everything.
Teams, new teams, all-time teams, everything.
Yeah, old players, everything. And so I went through, found 15 players that I saw their rating and thought that we could debate what their rating really was. If we think it's higher, it should be higher, it should be lower, or it's about right. Mm-hmm. And we start with DeMar DeRozan, who got bumped up to an 89 this time. From an 88 to an 89. I think it should still be higher. Personally, right now, I think he's playing as a 90-91. And when you get to that, for people who don't know, when you get to that 90-91, that really does signify you're a top 15 player in the NBA. There's I think there's 9 or 10 90-plus players right now, and DeMar DeRozan deserves to be in that topic.
I definitely agree with the season that he's had. He should be a 90 or a 91. I don't see him higher than that, but I do agree.
90 to 91 is mine. Ja, he's a 90. What is your thoughts on that?
I think it could be either that or an 89.
Yeah,
because he did start off so hot and has been just great to start the year.
Yeah,
I can teeter between the 90 and an 89. I think because he hasn't cooled off that much, I'm fine with a 90 for him.
Being what I just said, I don't think Ja's a top 15 player right now. Mm-hmm. I think he is an 89 or an 88 right now. Probably 89 for me. 88's a little too low, but obviously a lot of these guys who are 88s and 87s on the list that are coming up, I'm going to either bump them up or bump them down.
Yeah,
Ja for me is at 89. He's not quite reached that. I think there's at least 3 point guards better than him, maybe 4 right now with Dame, Luka, Steph, and then Chris Paul's probably a little bit better. Chris Paul's kind of a debate because Chris Paul, maybe. Trey too. Yep, I totally forgot about Trey. And so Ja's at 89 for me right now. So then Steph and KD are the highest rated players in the game. They both just got bumped up to a 97. What are your thoughts on that?
I honestly think that this should be a 98. With the way that they are playing.
They're not perfect players. They're not,
99, but
they're not 88 Jordan, who should be a 99, who is a 99 on the game. I looked into that. But 98, maybe a 99, but they have to be the same. That's what I was thinking.
They have to. I would say a 98 with just the way that they're playing. You obviously can't say that they should be lower. If you do, I don't know what's wrong with you. You obviously haven't watched basketball.
And then this comes into the debate for some people will think, is the best player in every 2K, should they be a 99? And then you rate everyone based off of that. Because if so, they should both be a 99 and be tied, and then everyone else should fall in suit after that. Or is it you look back at all of the 2Ks and, okay, look, 2013 LeBron was a 99, 88 Jordan was a 99, whoever in Wilt Chamberlain was a 99 or whatever the old 2Ks have it in their ranking system, then they should be a 97, 98. I like this, but probably a 98 for me.
Yeah.
Next, we got Julius Randle, who got bumped down to an 87. And for me as a Knicks fan, I like this. He's probably at 86 or 87 right now. He's not.
That's what I was gonna say.
He ended last year as a 90, which rightfully so.
Rightfully,
hooping at the end of last year, made an All-NBA team. He's slowly going down because his play is just not. It's sputtering right now, and it's just not. He's not leading this team like he did last year. So I think it's right about where it should.
I think I agree. Down to an 87 or an 86, he's still a good player.
Yeah,
it's just he's struggled a lot more.
Yeah, different roster construction, different game plan, different offensive sets. He's not being as aggressive some nights. he'll figure it out. I'm not going to give up on Julius through 16 games when 8 of them have been good games. He's had 8 bad games or something, and so I'm not going to give up just yet. Next, we got Alex Caruso, who's a 79, and I wanted to know what you said about this. 79.
79. I don't like that. I want to say at least an 80.
When you are an elite defensive player off the bench, he's starting now. Almost had a triple double the other night. He's got to be an 80 or 81 for me.
I hate some of the rankings in this game for defensive players because Marcus Smart's a 77 or 78 or something like that, and he's been on multiple all NBA defensive teams in the past couple years.
Starting on a good team in the East.
They just hate.
Too.
It seems like they just hate on defensive players. So
and I don't even know if it's hating on defense. I think the game is constructed to be a more offensive game. And
totally.
Taking say you put steal to a 99 and then 3-pointer to a 99, those are going to have different effects on your overall. But there's got to be some way you can get Caruso to an 81, in my opinion. He's got to be higher. Tyler Hero's an 82.
He needs to be higher than that.
I think he's an 83 or 84.
I would go 84. With
RJ Barrett's an 84. They're at least even. Maybe Hero 84, and right now RJ's an 83.
That's what I would say. Hero's got to be. I think Hero has to be above
the way
RJ
he's putting the ball, the way he's shooting right now and leading their offense. Second
leading scorer on a premier team. In the
Six
East.
Man of the Year candidate, top 6 Man of the Year type of guy. Obviously, I picked Melo, but if we did it again, that was 10 days ago. Week ago?
I think it was a week ago. Yeah.
I would put Hero now just off of recency, the last 3 games that we've seen since. Hero's got to be an 84 for me, bumping him up to. Brandon Ingram is an 84.
I would have to say he's higher than that.
I just think an 85, 86.
I don't think
he's better
higher
than Julius Randle.
I don't think it's that much higher, but I do agree. I think 85, maybe an 86. But he's definitely underrated in the league.
For sure. Yeah, underrated.
But obviously, he's been out for a couple games this year, and we haven't watched as many Pelicans games as some other teams. But he's definitely underrated as a player in general. But it should be higher, 85 or 86.
Okay, so these next 2 are fun. So we got LeBron James and Giannis are both 96s. And so here's my solution to this: LeBron stays at a 96, Giannis goes to a 97. KD and Steph go to a 98.
I think I'm fine with that.
I think that lays the tier list out. Maybe LeBron even at a 95.
I was going to say
I would probably
drop LeBron 1.
Bump LeBron down. What we saw of him this year, he's a 95 to me. He's still better than all but maybe 4 or 5 players in this league still.
He should be. I think he should be a 95. I do think Giannis needs to go to a 97, and then Steph and KD, obviously, like we said, need to go to a 98.
That lays the tier list out a little bit better to me because... But I do like how 2K did recognize that, Giannis is still, obviously we saw him against the Lakers the other night, have 48 points, dominant in the paint. He's the most dominant player right now. Steph is, this is what I'll say, Steph is the most skilled.
Yep.
The way he puts the ball in the hoop is just ridiculous. KD, for me, is the mix where physically dominant because of how tall and long his arms are and unguardable, and then the skill is obviously so evident, the dribbling, the bag, the moves.
Giannis, in terms of just pure
force, athleticism, he's the most physically dominant player in this league. He has to be a 97.
Yeah, he kind of dominated AD the other night. Yeah. It was actually kind of impressive to watch. Giannis had 28 at half, ended up with 48 in the game, and then AD kind of sputtered. Had 18 points.
Yep.
Didn't even shoot a free throw in that game, which the Lakers apparently want to complain about. But
they were complaining,
if he's not playing like a 5, he should be the 5 for that team. And if he doesn't play like it, he's got to force his will on these guys. And if he doesn't, then why should he deserve free throws?
Yeah, no, I feel that. Next, we got Patty Mills, one of my favorite players in the league at least. He's a 78 right now. And when I really got down to thinking about it, I thought that he's good there, or maybe a 79, because I don't think he's as good. When I'm thinking of the best bench players, Hero's an 81 in this game. I think he should be an 82, 83. Or no, Hero's an 82. I think he should be an 83, 84. Mills is quite a bit behind that. Not obviously he shouldn't go down at all. He's a 78, 79 in my book.
I would agree with that. I don't think he's better than that, but he's definitely not worse. I mean, he had 29 and made 9 threes the other game. He's been pretty great off the bench. I think that's perfect for him.
Yeah. I had to put this one in there just to mess with you.
Yeah.
Grant Williams is a 74. What do you think?
Well, with the way he's played the last 4 games, I think that's fine. I mean,
lower that thing.
No,
74?
I mean,
he's a 68, maybe. No, I'm just kidding.
He just had 18 and 9.
He's a 73, 74 for me. He shoots the ball better this year.
Yeah, he's slimmed down, can guard more positions. He's definitely not higher, but he's been better this season than because rookie year was good, sophomore year bad. This year he has
more of a role carved out for his body style.
Yeah,
his
and
size.
him losing weight, shooting the ball better. Obviously, I think 73, 74 is fine.
Yep. Okay, so there's these two I want to link up. I don't have them next to each other, but Devin Booker dropped to an 89 and Jaylen Brown's an 87. So I want to start with, I think Devin Booker, the dropping him to an 89 is perfect. Mm-hmm. He hasn't played as great as he is. I don't think he's a top 15 player in the league, which is what I set that 90 as. Maybe top 12 player in the league. That's where I set that. Jaylen Brown, though, has got to be an 88 to me. He's a little bit behind Devin Booker for sure, but he's not as good as Devin Booker to me. Yeah. But 87, I just feel like he's a little higher than that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Before he got hurt, he was top 10 in scoring in the league. Yeah. And has been great. He's been the best player before he got hurt on the Celtics this year. I don't like that he's an 87. He should be better than Julius is right now.
Yes. Yep. And he's played better, for sure. It's
88. If he was still playing right now at the level that he was, I would say 89. But since he's missed the last 2 weeks, obviously I would say 88 is good.
Next is Dame Lillard, and I wanted to throw this one in there because we were talking point guards earlier. I don't think it's a bad argument to make that Dame is the 4th or 5th best point guard right now as of 16 games.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Steph is by far and away the best. Luka's number 2 for me. Trae Young's got to be in that topic because of his play. They've had a bad record, but they've been hurt. I
would say that Ja is over Trae so far.
Ja's over Trae. I just think Dame, he's a 92 in the game. I think he should be a 90. He's on the fringe for me right now.
I would say 91 because, he hasn't been scoring the ball as well, but he's getting 10 to 12 assists every single night.
That's true.
It's not like he's not scoring, so he's not doing anything on the court.
Yeah.
So I would have him as a 91.
And I was bragging about how good he's looked. Yeah. With just their ball movement has looked so elite, making the extra pass, making the best basketball play. So he's a 90-91 for me. I can see your point there. Cam Reddish is a 79. Now, if Cam Reddish is above Patty Mills in the ranking,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Cam Reddish has done to prove that he's a 79.
He's a 76 or a 77 to me.
Yeah.
Maybe a 77 because Patty Mills is a 78 in the game.
Cam Reddish has got to be a 77. I don't know.
There's no way.
He's too inconsistent. Obviously, if he plays like he did last night every night, then I would say that's good or maybe even higher. But he's too inconsistent. Hasn't done nearly enough. He just came back from injury at the playoffs last year. Obviously played great. Has been inconsistent at the start of the year. It's 77, I would say.
77. Then I threw this one in there. Jokic and Embiid are 95s. And so this is my solution to it, is Embiid stays at a 95. Jokic goes up to a 96. LeBron, right now, I think, this is weird because I'm a huge LeBron fan. I'd probably have Jokic over LeBron right now.
I would too. I would bump Jokic up to a 96. What I would do, because then that would leave LeBron at a 95 for me.
Yeah,
I think Embiid's got to be below LeBron.
Then I would put Embiid to a 94.
That's what I would do. Because then Embiid,
actually,
LeBron,
I agree with that.
Jokic, Giannis, Steph, KD. I think
because right now, I think Jokic is my 4th best player in the league.
Yep, I would say so too.
And I think I would maybe even have Luka at 95 tied with LeBron.
Yes, I would agree with that. Embiid has to be lower than all them. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Obviously he's been out, but
I think
he also hasn't dominated as much as some of these
mine
other
goes. I still think Kevin Durant's the best player in the league. Yeah. And then it goes Steph for me, then Giannis, then Jokic, then Luka, LeBron tie
either way,
and then I go to Embiid is somewhere in there next. And then, shoot.
We got to talk about these next two.
James Harden's a 92. He needs to be a 90.
Down.
90. He's still on that fringe. PG's a 90. Paul George needs to be a 93.
93, that's what I was going to say.
So then Paul George is after that list we were just making. Paul George is next.
And James Harden needs to be a 90. There's no way that he's a 92.
He's just not playing that.
He's not playing that way, and the only way that he's scoring like 22 or more consistently is if he's getting in the free throw line and getting 12 or more free throws.
Yeah.
Like, he's not asserting his will on the offensive end. Like, he's obviously looked a bit better, but first step
he doesn't look like James Harden,
he
top
doesn't.
10 player in the league right now.
He's got to be a 90 for me.
Yep. These next three are also fun. I kind of chose groups of players that I thought would be fun to compare. As you've noticed so far, we're kind of grouping them.
Yep.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is an 86, LaMelo's an 87, and Jamal Murray is an 85. So this is my solution. Mm-hmm. I've kind of been thinking. I did this in class earlier, by the way. I did this in lit class. There's no way LaMelo's better than either of them right now. LaMelo's an 84, 85 for me right now.
I would say 85.
Too many inconsistent games.
Shea, I might say 87.
I think Shea's an 87 and Jamal Murray's an 86, 87 for me.
I would say 87. Like, with the Jamal Murray that we know.
Is Jamal Murray better than Shea? Yeah. He's got to be.
He put up.
Last
year he put up 50 points on like 22 on 20 of 25 shooting with
Jamal
no free
might
throws.
be an 88. I'm not even going to lie to you.
I was thinking that
Jamal might be as good as Jaylen Brown. No, they're both 88s, but I would put Jaylen just barely above him.
Yeah.
You know, they're both 88s. Jaylen's not quite enough for an 89 for me because that's Devin Booker. That's me personally. But Shea's got to be an 87, I would think.
I think
especially with
fine.
How much the Thunder are overachieving right now.
Yeah, they should be tanking, and they're like 5-9.
Or I think they might have more wins.
Are they like 6-9?
I think they might have
10?
6 or 7 wins.
That is just unexpected. Obviously, with Shea playing the way that he has, and then obviously Lou Dort. But I think he's got to be an 87, especially after the shot that he hit against the Lakers in that game. That was, I don't know what 86 players doing.
They're 6-8. So 6-8 with that young roster, man. That's really an accomplishment so far.
That is overachieving, for sure.
That's 6-8. Is that like on pace for like 33 wins? 34 wins? With 34 wins with this roster would just be absolutely ridiculous.
That would be insane.
Yep. And our last two that I wanted to compare were two guys that we brought up for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
Draymond and Al Horford are both 80s. They're both 80s, and this is what I say. I think Draymond's an 82, Al Horford's an 81. I think Draymond's a little better right now, personally.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But 82, 81, or 83, 81 for me?
I would say 83, 81, 82 maybe.
Yeah.
I think Draymond's an 83 he's hitting the three ball a lot better this year too.
Yep.
And then I would have Horford 81, 82 because he's just been fantastic on defense
and like there's no way you can like scroll up here and tell me Cam Reddish is 1 overall less than Horford or Draymond. You know what I'm saying? That's funny. That makes absolutely no sense. Yeah. Alex Caruso 1 less than these dudes. Like he's Alex Caruso's good, but like 1 overall less than Draymond.
These two are Defensive Player of the Year candidates.
Yeah. There's just no way.
Yeah.
Okay, so to finish the episode, since that's all of our content that we have so far.
Hopefully you didn't skip.
Better not have skipped because the trivia answer is about to be said. I'm going to repeat the question first, though. So hopefully, like what you were supposed to do is watch the whole episode. I wish you could like make it to where they can only see the answer if they watch the episode. Could you imagine?
Or it's like we just get the video and then right before the end they have to make a guess.
That's true. But that being said, Steph Curry has 39 games of 9 or more three-pointers made. So 39 times he drove to the arena, got in his warm-up, went out and did his crazy warm-up that I saw videos of, the one-legged free throws and all that stuff, shooting from half court.
Yep.
Came out and made 9 or more three-pointers, which most NBA players would be a career night.
Yep.
He's done that 39 times. How many other people have at least 10 games? So 10 times they drove to the arena and made 9 or more three-pointers.
The answer is 0.
No one has ever gotten 10 games, and he has 39.
There's some players with 9. I think James Harden has... Kobe has like 4.
4.
J.R. Smith has like 5.
James has 9, so maybe... Watch, tomorrow night he's going to have 9 or something in this. Hopefully you're watching this before James Harden has 9 tomorrow night.
And then, I can't remember. There was someone else on the list. But yeah, multiple players with 9 and lower, but no player has more than 10.
No player has double digits, and he's about to have 40.
Which is insane.
It's borderline Wilt statistics, where it's 4 times more than anybody else. Best shooter of all time,
Steph.
And even I think Reggie Miller said that.
Yeah, I don't know how.
JJ Redick was like.
I don't know how you consider it any other way.
Big pile of whatever you can think of, and
it's like
probably Reggie or
like I think people might think I'm crazy, but like Steph's in like a league of his own as a shooter, and it's like if you don't think that, you must be crazy.
Yeah,
like I don't know what Steph Curry you're watching if you don't think he's far and away the best shooter ever.
Yeah, it's the difficulty of shot, the distance. Ray Allen's a great shooter, but he was not shooting pull-up 32-footers on an ISO.
Right. He
was not like that shot against the Nets at the end of the game when KD and Harden are sitting there.
Yeah. Like, you kidding me?
Just staring at it, you know. No one else in the history. Dame is the closest to the difficulty of shot, but he doesn't shoot 43% or whatever it is. He doesn't have the off-ball movement. Steph's the whole package, total package, greatest shooter ever. So that's that. Hopefully it blew your mind. It's going to be up on the TikTok later, probably tomorrow.
Yep.
But, we appreciate all the support if you made it this far, if you came to see the trivia answer. We really do appreciate it. You guys have been going crazy on the TikTok. We're getting hundreds of views. We're trying to build on that, create more content, fun content. We might have a golf video coming out tomorrow because I'm going golfing. The bowling stuff's been fun. Trivia, all that stuff's been great. We have a friend who's helping us with the TikTok. He's doing awesome, so shout out to Mason. Things like that, and just like and subscribe the video. Share it with your friends.
Let us
really
know in the
appreciate
comments what you want to see, anything like that.
Yep. So peace out.